Try it again. Take 3.
What is your name?
My name is Lee Sikora.
And what do you do?
I work at Kohl's department stores.
What specifically do you do?
I am a operations advocate.
When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a police officer.
What is the best part of your job?
I get to help people in small ways that make them happy.
Does the idea of a glass ceiling worry you?
It worries me for my children that they will be affected by a glass ceiling, because I know that they're skilled, smart young ladies and they shouldn't be kept from doing what they want to do because they're female when they can do a job just as well as a man can. It's not that it doesn't concern me, it's just that I'm at the point of my life where I'm starting to wind down with working. It concerns me for future generations because I think men and women can do the same jobs. I mean, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm at the end of my career, but like you and your sister are just starting. So for you, then yeah, it's a concern.
So at the phone company?
When I worked at the phone company, women were not encouraged to apply for, say, technician jobs. We were encouraged to apply for directory assistants or an operator or taking phone calls and repair, which is what I did when we were I could climb a telephone pole just as well as any man could, but we took the tests, but we always felt like it was, yeah, we'll let them take the test. The phone company was a man's world. Very much male-dominated, male managers, male upper-level management, male president and CEO, very few women leaders, except at the lower-level management. In this society, men are usually chosen, not always, but usually chosen because they feel that a man doesn't have to have maternity leave to take care of their babies, and they're not worried about their kids, and and they're not hormonal. We don't have to worry that once a month a man's gonna fly off the handle, or that a man's gonna get menopausal and have hot flashes during a big meeting, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's, in this day and age, that's ridiculous to even think those things. I have not experienced, but I have seen women in my age group who have lost their jobs and know that because of their age, they're probably not going to find anything as what they want or what they're good at without starting at the bottom again, which doesn't always happen to men. I mean, I'm sure it does, but typically it's the women that have to start all over. You guys are so lucky because things are changing. They're just changing so much, and you guys are right in there with these changes, and it's actually kind of cool because I don't think you're going to have as many of the struggles as that my generation had or Grandma and Grandpa's generation had. Grandma worked maybe 5 years out of her whole life when she had to. Otherwise, her job was to stay home, take care of the kids, take care of the house, cook dinner. A lot of stuff changed in the 70s with the whole women's lib now movement, where because a lot of women decided they didn't want to get married and have kids, they wanted careers. So that kind of, they got their foot in the door for all women. They're pioneers of that. They fought, and they're still fighting. Men's attitudes changed, and women's attitudes changed about, these both our kids. Why can't we both take care of our children? This is how it should be, is that we're all taking care of each other's, we're taking care of our kids, not just you do all of this and I bring home the money. Women should be able to go make their own money. It shouldn't be that the husband has the credit card and the wife is, can I use your credit card and I get to use, it's like, here you go, honey, here you can go do that. Don't spend too much, I'll write you a check to pay the bill. Just things like that. I mean, things change so much, so much.
My name is Nathaniel Gillen. I'm currently a school counselor working at Marquette University High School.
And how long have you been doing that?
This will be my 26th year of operation at Marquette University High School. In the past, I was the principal at a few elementary schools. I have 2 master's degrees, one in administration, the other one in school counseling, and then I have a bachelor's degree in pre and early adolescence.
How's your family influenced you or inspired you in your career?
Okay. For Milwaukee, a number of my relatives were very entrepreneurial. One of my aunts was the first individual within the city who had the first school of cosmetology for African Americans. Also, my aunt, who was very influential in my life, was what we would call a jack of all trades. She held her own rooming house. She had a huge apartment complex. She had her own dry cleaners. There were 3 sisters that operated a restaurant. So the background in terms of being with business, people being exposed to, and also in terms of that rooming house, for our family, it was really like a railroad train from the south to the north. A lot of our people in the migrational period came up. They settled at the rooming house, which was very close to MATC. They went on to MATC to get their education. From that, they got a foothold in the city. They jumped off to that either from a job or a career. And basically, it was kind of like a movement from the educational process into the city of Milwaukee itself.
When you were a child, did you want to grow up to be a counselor?
No. What I really wanted to do is to work in the railroads. I wanted to be a driver, like an engineer, an engineer working for the railroads, but basically a person who was on trains. I was fascinated with trains. And you would actually find me in my early childhood in big cardboard boxes sitting outside pretending that I was on the railroads themselves.
So if you had to describe the best part of your job, what would it be?
The aspect for me that I like the most, that I can see right now, is actually watching kids move from one stage of development to the next.
Has your gender ever came between you and your aspirations?
As a male, I think I've been pretty privileged and I've been allowed to do almost all the things I want to do. But I think of recent years, I think the laws or the tendencies of what's happening in terms of the publics, especially surrounding education, I think that men are very suspect in education right now.
Do you think that there's a different expectation of you than your colleagues of the opposite sex?
We just, as a faculty, had what was called a school climate survey.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the strong questions that was on that school climate survey had to do with the issue of women. And again, since I teach at an all-boys school, 1,200 boys in the city of Milwaukee, one of the questions that the women had was, again, how do the young men treat or view women within the building? And was it a problem for the women's staff, or was it also a issue or situation with regards to how young men treated them in avenues of respect? With regards to women in our building, we have some very strong individuals, very dedicated to the craft, but at different times I do think they feel slighted. Sometimes they feel they may not feel listened to.
And how does religion come to play in your everyday work environment?
Well, if you work in a Catholic school, private school, one of the first things they're asking you, are you kind of religious based? Is this a premises of people who are coming in? We do have some people who work in our building who are not affiliated with the Catholic Church. There are various other denominations. We also have some people within our buildings becoming a strong tendency that they may become even agnostic and sometimes atheists. But one of the things is there's a premise within your teaching is that spirituality or allowing a spiritual flavor to exist is something that you come to expect that's there. I think that some of the issues that we get into with regards to women's rights in the Catholic Church, and one of them has to be, again, the area of control of their own body. Within our context, we even changed our insurance policy to make sure that women and their issues were regarded with the right, whereas that, again, one insurance company we had kind of violated some of their issues and didn't allow them to have that. So within that accord, we try to be open.
Is the pay rate generally fair? Because it's been said that most men get paid more than women.
There's a strong built-in pay scale. Chapter 9 for women, I think, has also done something with Chapter 9 within buildings, also even for men. But I know that it's opened more avenues for women. But within our building, I think it's been equal. It's been about the same.
Have you ever heard of the glass ceiling? Yeah.
Right. There is a glass ceiling, and that glass ceiling is something that our society still continues to deal with. A lot has to do with because of networking. Old boy societies, old boy networks still come out. We're finding that even in places that are promoting and supposed to have equal employment, that somehow along the line that males still seem to be the favorite individuals in terms of I would say the glass ceiling. It does exist. There can be people working just as hard, doing just as quality job, again, even in terms of evaluations that come up, and somehow along the line their pay is not adjusted according to what is what.
One more quick question. What would be your definition of feminist?
The 70s is where we first started seeing women kind of asserting themselves out of the traditional role in kind of making a name for themselves. Part of the feminist movement has been those individuals who are looking at traditional roles in society, looking at women's roles and women's rights with those in society, and making a point of trying to ask, are women able to reach all their heights, to be all that they can be? And I think that's part of what the feminist movement is.
I do appreciate you. From me and the other 4 class members that are doing this project together, we all thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.